Hello! So today we are channeling the difference between princesses and queens, princes and kings. So first we're going to talk about the criteria, then we're going to talk about owning it, and then we're going to talk about letting it go. Okay? So a princess, you see a lot on the internet now, which is very much like princess treatment. They want to be admired and gifted and protected. You know, this is very girlish ingenue energy, which is great, and that's fine. It is definitely a submissive feminine role, meaning you're in the power seat because you know your standards and you know you want to be treated like a princess, but you're also taking power backseat, like a power bottom, because you know that you're trying to be treated very girlish, not in an inherently negative way. It's just like, you know that you want to be treated like a princess. I think the shadow energy of princess treatment is potential daddy issues. Also potentially spoiled brat syndrome. That's not a bad thing. I know that it sounds like a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. You just like what you like, okay? The light attributes of that is ultimately beauty. You are beautiful, girl. You are beautiful, and you know it. Confidence, assurance, standards, and ultimately an energy that men or women or whatever you're into, they want to bring an element of protection to you. You are like to be protected at all costs, you know? Then we've got queens. They are women that, I guess men could be queens too, are adhering to a different standard than princesses. They want to take more of an influence or a dominant position in relationships and in life. However, they want to be worshipped. So the difference between a princess, they want to be admired. A queen wants to be worshipped. Is it possible that both of these stem from ego? Yes, but we're always going to have ego, like my bestie says. It's just about really what you want out of life. I think some of the hang-ups with queens is, and the shadow attributes of them, is that they sometimes want to date princes because they want to take that more dominant approach. And they think that's like the way to go, like younger men. However, they need to date kings. And with princesses, they also need to date kings. So where does that leave princes? Like, what? Like, are princes not just not gonna date? Maybe. Light attributes of queens are wow. Oh my God, holy crap. When a queen walks into a room, it's like time stops. Ooh, ooh. They are so strong and sexy and sensual, and they're probably scared of their own power to an extent, which is why a lot of people can think they're princesses, but they're actually queens. They're just scared to regulate their own emotions and be queens. I thought I was a princess. I'm a queen. Let's get that straight. Now let's talk about the masculine energy of all of that. Princes, are they left out in this whole equation? If princesses and queens both want to date kings, or should, where do princes lie? I guess in the matriarchy, or back in the day, princes really just fucking did whatever they wanted. They just did whatever they wanted. They could bed whoever they wanted. They could do their little hobbies, go jousting. I don't know. But they did whatever they wanted. And they didn't really necessarily need to have a sense of responsibility. They just knew that they will have to grow up eventually. So if you're dealing with a prince, they'll probably say some stuff like, I'm not ready for a relationship. I have things to work on. And you should take that as face value, because princes are doing whatever the fuck they want. And maybe that's not you. You don't need that anyway, you know? You don't need that anyway. With kings know exactly what they want. Oh my God. And you could be a king at any age. You could be 23 and still be a king. Kings go into any situation, potentially with BDE, big dick energy. Listen, you could be a king and be toxic too. Have you read any of the literature on kings? Like, some of these kings were insecure mother effers, but they still have power. They beheaded women for sleeping with them. Got exactly what they wanted, and they were like off with their head. You can be a king and still not be healthy. You can be a queen and not be healthy. Let's get that right. If you're watching this video, you want to be healthy and you want to be able to transform your power into something reasonable, realistic, and what I like to call pragmatic. What does this have to do with anything? Well, you really need to know where you lie. Are you a princess? Are you a queen? Are you unhealthy in any of those categories? Are you a prince? Are you a king? Are you unhealthy in any of those categories? And you need to own it. And the reason why you need to own it is because the minute you embrace whatever position you are in this hypothetical kingdom, all your decisions are altered. Like, you just really have a lot more value in terms of what you're saying yes or no to. For instance, if you recognize, oh, I've been trying to be a queen, but I'm actually a princess, and you were probably saying yes to a lot of hyper independence. You were probably saying yes to a lot of dominant things when you really just wanted to kind of like take a back seat and take a more submissive approach. You probably, when somebody opens a door for you, you're like, the fuck? So in that regard, you have to start saying yes to the little things, like saying yes to somebody who wants to woo you. Sorry. And if you're a princess who realizes that they need to be a queen, you're probably saying yes to a lot of what you don't want as well. And in the same regards to masculine energy, if you are a man and you are waiting for the woman to kind of lead, like you're like, oh, the ball's in your court, you're a prince. Basically, the differentiation between a prince and a king is you just know what you want and you're not afraid to go after it, and you could approach it totally however you want to approach it, but there is no fear in a king's eyes. Well, at least they're not showing it, right? Like, because obviously that motherfucker who like cut off Anne Boleyn's head obviously had some severe insecurity, but there's a difference between not showing fear and not being vulnerable. I do think that there are a lot of kings out there who don't know the difference between fear and vulnerability. And I don't really think they equate. You know, Dr. Brene Brown like talks about how there's no difference between courage and vulnerability. With that being said, now that we've owned it, how can we let go? We've owned it, how can we let go? Acceptance can only go so far. You still need to implement action. Let's use me as an example. I've owned that I'm a queen. What does that mean going forward? How do I let go? Well, you have to take an assessment period to look around you at your life, and you have to look at it objectively, almost like from a bird's eye or God's eye view. And you have to, like I said, assess what part of your life right now, your rituals, your habits, your experiences are princess energy, because it's gotta go. And what part of it is queen energy? That has to stay. You can't let go until you know all the information. And all the information comes from your divine source, which is yourself. In my case, like, let's think if there's anything in my life right now that's princess energy. Yeah, I've been avoiding getting a second job. I really want to buy a lot of stuff for the summer and like have some big experiences and make really good money at my job, but I just want more money. A princess would be like, oh, I guess I could just wait and procrastinate or find a man that can provide, and that's all good too, if that's what you want. But I am a queen, and it goes against my very nature to ultimately sit in that more submissive approach to this particular issue. So for me, it is really about like, just fuck, hit send on the reso, dude. Hit send on the reso. And I just did that today. So in summation, this is really important stuff, and it sounds silly, but it's not. Sorry, I don't know, I got the sniffles. Hopefully this has helped you kind of get clear. You don't have to be queen and you don't have to be princess. You just have to be yourself. And stop dating princes. They're just being princes. It's not personal. Love you.